Baseball blooming in the desert. The final weekend before the All-Star break, and here in Phoenix, the Diamondbacks, well, they're as hot as the weather. Tonight at Chase Field, it's the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Hello, everyone. Welcome to MLB on FS1. Glad to have you here on a Saturday night with my partner, Preston Wilson. I am Eric Collins. Well, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Last year for the Diamondbacks was a disaster. Didn't have the season they wanted, but they've made up for it this year. What a great first half they've had. Well,
they got their ace towing the line again in Zach Greinke. They've also got top 5 in pitching, top 5 in offense. They're doing everything at an all-time clip. Look at this ERA, second in MLB, runs per game, 5th with 5 runs a game. They're doing it all. But they're all led by Paul Goldschmidt, who is their all-star, who's their slugger. 2020 guy who absolutely sets the pace for this offense. He's got a .313 average with 20 home runs, 67 RBIs, and his baseball IQ is off the charts. There's no situation that this man is not prepared for. He's great, and it's great to have him if you're Torey Lovullo.
Paul Goldschmidt, obviously an all-star. We have another all-star first baseman, the Cincinnati Reds, still trotting Joey Votto out there. He was an MVP back in 2010, but Preston, he may be playing better right now.
Yeah, if you like great first baseman, this is a game for you. Joey Votto is the guy who's on the other side of that coin, who is just on base personified. All he does is get on base. Look at him choke up on the bat. He does it old school style, leading the league with 25 home runs, 64 RBIs, playing a great first base. The offense is what it is, but the defense lets you know that he's an all guy who's working on everything. But he's bookended by 2 guys who are also great. Zach Gossart is batting .317 with 9 home runs. Adam Duvall with 20 home runs, 61 RBIs. Those guys are allowing Joey Votto to drive the ball out of the ballpark because he's getting pitched to. What a thing for Brian Price to have in his lineup.
Yeah, Brian Price now in his 4th season. He's trying to figure things out. The pitching has been the issue. He's a former pitching coach. He has been hands-on in that regard, trying to get things turned around. Let's take a look at his lineup card on this Saturday evening here in Phoenix. Brian Price will trot out the speedster Billy Hamilton to lead off the game. Hamilton with 34 stolen bases. He can absolutely fly. Zach Gossart getting ready for his first All-Star game. Of course, Joey Votto right in the thick of things with Adam Duvall protecting him. Scooter Gennett, Scott Schebler, Jose Peraza, Tucker Barnhart, and the pitcher Luis Castillo. Billy Hamilton. Now they'll be taking their hacks against a really good youngster out of Yucaipa, California. Taijuan Walker, his first year here in the Diamondbacks organization.
Well, I think he's liking this Arizona era a little bit better. Last year, some inconsistencies in Seattle. This year seems to put it together with a 3.3 ERA. See that 6-3 record. He's been more complete this year, and the Diamondbacks have got to be pleased to have him in that rotation with Greinke, Robbie Ray. These guys are ready to go.
First pitch of the game, 93, called strike 1. Billy Hamilton trying to get on base any way possible and use that great speed of his. Been in a bit of a funk, flares this one foul, and when you're in a bit of a funk, this happens a lot. 0-2.
It seems like when they call your name and you're struggling, they're now batting Billy Hamilton. The count's 0-2. That's just how it goes, but you got to find your way to work yourself out of this. Try to make sure you're swinging at good pitches. That's what it all starts with.
Billy Hamilton choking up, a couple of inches on that bat of his, flips another one foul. Well, 7 o'clock local start here in Phoenix. Glad we're playing indoors. 104 degrees outside Chase Field. That's actually gone down about 10 degrees from yesterday's heat wave. Seen temperatures as high as 118 in recent days here in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, I was here for that. When you start getting above 100, you don't want to hear about dry heat. All right, I came in from Miami, or it's Miami, it's humid. It's just hot. Let's just say it's hot. That's what we're going to say. Ooh, where's that pitch?
Home plate umpire Paul Emmel says Walker will have to throw another.
Wow. I mean, I usually look at things from an offensive standpoint. You got to wonder where that pitch is. That seemed to have gotten a lot of the plate.
So good at bat here for Hamilton. He has shown the rest of the lineup everything that Walker has to offer. After falling down to the count 0-2, he's gone full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And another ball flipped foul and out of play.
Yeah, and if you're Walker, you're going, now my pitch count's starting to creep up a little bit. I had this guy out. I'm having to show more than I want to show. All because I didn't get a pitch that I thought really had a lot of the plate. But that's when a pitcher really has to mentally make sure he gets that grind back and not let that affect him.
Eighth pitch to Hamilton, and this one is pulled foul. Hamilton, Cozart, and Votto to bat here in the first inning for Cincinnati. If anyone gets on, Adam Duvall.
You know, I'm not usually one that believes in moral victories, but when you go 0-2 and you make an 8-pitch at bat and turn that into a walk, even though you didn't get a hit, you've won right there.
Heck of a performance there to begin the game for Billy Hamilton. Runner aboard, nobody out. Keys to the game sponsored by Ford. How about the Cincinnati Reds?
Oh, they got to get some early offense, and Billy Hamilton is getting it started for the first time this year. Took an 0-2 count to a walk, so that's maybe signs for the Reds getting some early offense going.
That's a great nugget early. Preston Wilson.
Well, I got to build up here. You heard that open. I stumbled through the open. I'm going to get better throughout the game, you know. Hey, you know, got to be able to own up to it, man, you know.
Here's all-star shortstop Zach Cozart.
Stellar the rest of the way, though.
Figuring things out as a 31-year-old. There goes Hamilton. Just a great jump. Ball gets through the catcher Chris Herman's legs. And a runner in scoring position.
Oh, look at that. Really good jump. Head down. You're not going to get Billy Hamilton when he gets a jump like that. Billy Hamilton, one of the few guys who can give you that little false step. That front leg will drop back a little bit, and that's going to allow him to get extension on that first stride, and it's just all explosion from there.
So Walker now dealing with a runner in scoring position. There's a quality strike to Cozart, 1-1. Batting average for Cozart now at .317. That's sixth best in the National League. Guy in the on-deck circle, Joey Votto, just a whisker below that .317 at .315. That'll shoot the gap in right center. Hamilton can walk home. Cozart on his way to second. Will he stop there? No, he's on his way to third. The relay, not nearly in time. It's a triple for Cozart. And the Reds lead 1-0.
Yeah, great job by Billy Hamilton with that at bat. And then look at this swing by Cozart. Looks like a little slider. Just buries the head on that swing. Look at that, right on the point of contact. Drives it into the gap. He knows he's got a triple off the bat because he was just easy motoring around the bases. RBI triple. Reds get that early offense going, 1-0. Reds.
So the great at bat by Hamilton, the walk, the stolen base, and now the triple. 1-0 lead for Cincinnati. And here comes the great Joey Votto. Got to be careful with Votto early in the count. This year he has been swinging at way more first pitches than he has ever in his career.
Yeah, I think as you go throughout your career, you remember that you can't give away so much. It's hard to be.
High drive, deep left field, going back to Scalzo, out of room. A homer for Joey Votto. His National League leading 26th. It's a 3-0 lead for the Reds.
What I like about that is he was just trying to get one. When you drive in runs, you understand that the best pitch to hit a sac fly on is a fastball away or a breaking ball. Those pitches get hit in the air more than anything. And he gets a ball away from him, just tries to get a sac fly, but because the velocity is 96 and he ends up putting a great swing on it, he ends up getting himself a 2-run home run instead of a 1-run sac fly. Great job, Joey Votto.
So 3 men have batted against Taijuan Walker, and all 3 have scored. And a little bit alarming if you're a follower of the Diamondbacks. Taijuan Walker's been doing a good job of keeping the ball on the playing surface throughout the course of this season. Only 5 home runs allowed before that homer to Joey Votto.
You have to wonder how much that 2-strike pitch to Billy Hamilton that he did not get affected him, because you could see it on his face. You could see it in the mannerisms. He needed that pitch.
Starts Adam Duvall with a curveball for a strike. 20 homers for Duvall. You know, one of the things the Reds have done very well in recent years is find guys in other organizations that they thought could be productive. Duvall was a guy maybe overlooked a bit in the Giants organization. Reds got him in a trade a couple of years ago, and he has put up numbers. Only had 73 at-bats at the big league level for San Francisco before they allowed him to get away. And he has become a fixture in Cincinnati.
Well, when you get fortunate enough to be in a lineup where you got guys that get on base a lot, like a Joey Votto, it can only help you offensively. If you have some power, you're going to be able to drive in runs. You're going to be productive when you got a guy like Joey Votto in front of you.
Into right field. That one won't make it to the warning track. Play made by Chris Owings. That's the game's first out. Let's take a look at the defense behind Walker. It's an outfield of Descalso, Fuentes, and Owings. Infield from third to first, Jake Lamb, Ketel Marte, Brandon Drury, and Paul Goldschmidt. And behind the plate, one of 3 catchers that the Diamondbacks carry. Tonight it will be Chris Herman. They also have options in Jeff Mathis and Chris Iannetta. Here's Scooter Gennett. Over the last 6 weeks, he has solidified his future prospects in Cincinnati. He's been on a tear. You see those 14 homers. You probably have heard 4 of them came in 1 game.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's a guy who got DFA'd, really released out of spring training. Cincinnati saw something they liked, didn't know exactly how he was going to fit in. He came in and was like, I will do whatever you need me to do.
Oh, that one got away, and Gennett is hit. That'll be the 4th base runner in 5 batters that have faced Walker.
Right fielder number 43.
You saw Walker, the pitcher, flinch when the ball ran up and in, and didn't look like that was anything untoward. He was a little bit alarmed that he had hit Gennett.
No, I think we've become so reactionary now whenever someone gets hit. And I think we really need to look at these situations on a case-by-case basis. Walker's at 20, 21 pitches right now. He's trying to get off the mound. He's not trying to hit anybody. I think baseball itself needs to kind of let cooler heads prevail in some of these moments. It's not all personal. Sometimes guys make mistakes.
Scott Schebler, big swing and a miss. Just curious, Preston, you spent a long time in the big leagues. In terms of pain, getting hit on that forearm, how does that compare to the ribs, to the leg, to the buttocks?
Any place where there's a little bit of muscle, it helps. But when you start getting in the wrist or like in the ribs where there's not a whole lot of cushion there, it hurts, man. And it leaves a mark for a long time.
Schebler goes the other way, and it's foul. Down in the count of 0-2. Scott Schebler with 22 home runs. There's Zach Greinke. Greinke started the game yesterday and won the game, and that wasn't much of a surprise. He has 9 wins and 9 decisions here at home this year, and he was the perfect guy to start a game after the disastrous 3-game series that the Diamondbacks had in LA against the Dodgers earlier this week.
It's nice to have that stopper, that ace who can stop any skid when it's his time to come around.
Called strike 3. Walker strikes out his first. There are now 2 outs.
I mean, to me, this pitch looks just like the pitch that Billy Hamilton took that did not get called a strike. And there he gets the benefit of the call there. See the ball runs back out over the plate, but Walker's just got to make sure he gets that focus back, battle through this inning, get down, get off his feet, and then come back ready to go next time around.
Jose Peraza chases the first pitch out of the zone. 23-year-old from Venezuela. Reds already 3 runs here in the top of the first inning. Billy Hamilton, the leadoff walk. Zach Cozart, RBI triple, and then Joey Votto goes opposite field for his 26th homer of the season. Torey Lovullo, Ryan Price matching wits. First series of the season between these two clubs. Last night a win for Arizona, 6-3. Well hit into center field, coming on and making the play is Fuentes. So the side is retired, but big damage done by Joey Votto and the Reds. Diamondbacks already trailing 3-0. Home half of inning number 1. Here is Torey Lovullo's lineup card. Daniel Descalso gets the start. He'll lead things off. Chris Herman, veteran catcher. Goldschmidt has had a terrific year. Jake Lamb, a whole bunch of power. Owings, Drury. Marte is the shortstop. Fuentes and Walker, the pitcher. They will face young right-hander out of the Dominican Republic, Luis Castillo.
Oh, Luis Castillo's got an electric arm. You're going to see a whole bunch of high 90s popping up in the broadcast tonight, and he brings it consistently.
His first pitch, effortless, and it's 97. Does miss the zone. 1-0 to Descalso. This is just the 4th big league start for Castillo. So obviously this is the first look the Diamondbacks have had of him. Figured maybe advantage pitcher first time around.
Well, Castillo was the 2016 Marlins minor league pitcher of the year. Ended up going over in the deal for Dan Straley, a pitcher that everybody knew in the Marlins organization was right on the verge of being good.
And Castillo's actually no stranger to being traded. Began his career in the Giants organization. Traded to Miami. Was actually briefly traded to San Diego last summer. Part of the trade was rescinded when Colin Ray turned out to be damaged goods. Was sent back to San Diego. That meant that Castillo was sent back to Miami. Catches made by Hamilton, 1 out. Let's take a look at the keys to the game, sponsored by Ford, talking about the Diamondbacks.
Well, this one's going to be pretty simple. We knew the Reds had to get early offense to take the pressure off of their pitchers. The Diamondbacks, they got to hit the heater because it's coming early and it's coming often. Castillo, you're going to see between 96 to 100 miles an hour. So if there's any way you're going to beat him, it's going to be by hitting that number 1.
Here's Chris Herman. One of 3 different catching options that the Diamondbacks use. 29-year-old, hitting just 185, finds himself in the number 2 hole. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Good changeup right there from Castillo, and that's his second best pitch. And when he's throwing that fastball and he throws that fast changeup on the same plane, it's a really tough deal for the hitter. Oof.
Pretty nice. First strikeout for Castillo. 2 down here in the first inning.
Yep, and when we say hit the heater, it's because you don't want to deal with this after the heater. When you got a guy who throws that changeup on the same arm plane as that fastball, and he gives you a good 10 to 12 miles an hour differential, it's really hard to distinguish the pitch.
Here's Paul Goldschmidt. Just one of the best players of his generation. Great numbers across the board. 5th consecutive season he's an all-star. But for Goldschmidt, his first look at Castillo. Preston, what was your thought process first time you saw a pitcher?
Well, I wanted to understand, the first thing I wanted to understand was, did he throw strikes on both sides of the plate? Because there's some pitchers who, even though they pitch on both sides of the plate, they can only throw strikes on one side of the plate consistently. So once I figure that out, then I would go take my game plan from there.
2-2.
You know, and then other than that, it was, okay, how does he pitch me differently with men on or men in scoring position? Because that's where I made my money, driving in runs. So I wanted to know, was he a different guy with men on?
Well, he works quickly. We know that.
And so far, what we've seen from Castillo, we've seen a lot of strikes on the first base side of home plate. Everything on the third base side of home plate has really just been for show. So I'm going to zone up on the other side of the plate. So they were trying to go in there, and that ball still leaked out to the third base side of home plate. I mean, to the first base side of home plate.
Just something that we've seen here in the first inning. All 3 Diamondbacks hitters that have faced Castillo have looked at the first 2 pitches they have seen. 3-2 pitch to Goldschmidt. Popped up, shallow right. Schebler coming on. Second baseman Peraza makes the play. And a good 1-2-3 inning for the rookie for the Dominican. Welcome back, everyone. MLB on FS1. 3-0 lead for the visitors. Cincinnati on top of Arizona. Taijuan Walker had to face 7 Reds batters in the first inning before retiring the side. Ended up throwing 28 pitches. He'll try and improve on that here in the second inning. First man he faces, Tucker Barnhart. Hard, but right to the first sacker. Goldschmidt doesn't make too many mistakes. Out number 1. Giancarlo Stanton looking to defend his title against rookie sensations Aaron Judge and Cody Bellinger. Stacked field coming your way. 2017 T-Mobile Home Run Derby Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. How about Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger? Both rookies, both with 25 or more homers. Mark McGwire in '87 had 33 on his way to 49 as a rookie. And I love that slotting of Al Rosen, going old school.
Yeah, I got to stick him in there. We had 25, I think it was in there. Man.
Here's the pitcher, Luis Castillo. 0 for 7 with the bat in his hands. Limited time. This is just the 4th start for Castillo. Castillo actually has a claim to fame. He actually batted before he pitched as a big leaguer.
Huh.
Yeah, the Reds were on the road and they batted around in the first inning of his first start. Chased, and that a strikeout for Walker, his second. So one time through the order now for Taijuan Walker.
Center fielder, Billy Hamilton.
Yeah, this is where the trouble began for Walker in the first inning. Billy Hamilton strides to the plate. Hamilton was down in the count 0-2. And he just battled. Flipped 4 balls foul. Saw everything Walker had to offer. And eventually worked a walk.
Yeah, Billy Hamilton up again. You know, last time up, it was really, really close on that pitch. Had the pitch that ended up going 2-2 that was called a ball. I really think that changed the whole complexion of the bat. Let's take a look at it. First inning right here. See this pitch well within the strike zone, height and width. That ended up taking it to a 2-2 count. Hamilton ends up walking. Reds end up scoring 3 in the first. I think that changed the whole complexion of that inning. I mean, that ball's got to be called a strike. You can see if it's on the corner, but that's well within the strike zone as far as height and width across the plate.
And now on 4 pitches, Walker walks Hamilton again. And that's the last guy in this lineup you want to walk, because a walk to Hamilton is almost the same thing as a double.
And that's on a good day. Some days it's a triple if he's got that right read on you.
Here's Zach Cozart. Shot the gap in right center. Inning ago, driving in Hamilton. He eventually scored on the Votto homer. In case you're wondering, for Billy Hamilton, that's just the 4th time this year he's had a multi-walk game. And we're only in the second inning. Now, after throwing 4 straight balls, Walker throws strike 1 to Cozart.
And Cozart, the NL All-Star starting shortstop for the Midsummer Classic. What a first half he's had.
Preston, in your eyes, is there any reason for Hamilton not to be running here?
No. No, go ahead and go get in scoring position. Now, if it was from second to third with 2 outs, I would say, nah, you don't need to be running. But to go from first to second, you get this bag if you got it. No reason for him to not go.
Walker thinking the same thing.
You know, and I think the offense that the Arizona Diamondbacks show, you got to get as many runs as you can while you can serve. You got a guy like Billy Hamilton who's almost a sure thing as far as a stolen base.
There he goes. Thrown out to second. Not nearly in time. So 2 innings, 2 walks, 2 stolen bases for Hamilton.
Oh, yeah. This is pretty much as good as you can have it for the Reds. If you could script it, this is what you want. Look at the little first step. See that little jab step from Hamilton where he slides that first foot back a little bit? That gets that front side over, lengthens out that first side, and man, he is just pure acceleration. Wow.
Hamilton has been a smash success.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
But it is 0-2 count to Cozart. That pitch just handcuffed the catcher Herman. 1-2. Walker got the first 2 outs easily. Now in a bit of hot water. Man, Hamilton just a pest at second base.
Yeah, but if you're Taijuan Walker, you got 2 outs, you got 2 strikes. You got to almost act like he doesn't exist right now. Sure, he got from first to second, that's one thing. But from second to third, all you got to do is make 1 pitch and you're out of this inning. You can't allow Billy Hamilton to distract you from making this 1 pitch.
There's Joey Votto. Should this inning continue, he'll get an opportunity. Opposite field home run an inning ago. And Walker taking too much time. Cozart calls timeout. Do it again. Walker sure does look the part. 6'4", 235 pounds. Still a young player, just 24 years of age. Hard, but right to the shortstop. Marte flips it across the diamond. Side is retired. Walker a scoreless second. 3-0 Cincinnati. On FS1 is sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance, helping drivers worry less. Welcome back, everyone. Phoenix, Arizona, Chase Field. Only venue that the Diamondbacks have ever known. 3-0 lead for the visitors. The Reds getting 3 runs in the top of the first. Luis Castillo faces Jake Lamb. It'll be Lamb, Owings, and Drury here in the second. With Preston Wilson, I'm Eric Collins. Glad to have you on a Saturday night. Great first half for Lamb. And he is the first Diamondback getting a peek for the first time at Luis Castillo, who has not taken the first 2 pitches. In the first inning, Descalso, Herman, and Goldschmidt all looked at the first 2 pitches.
Well, you get your first few guys up there. What they're trying to do is they're trying to give you an idea of what is the perceived velocity out of his hand. We know what that gun says, but how hard does it look out of his hand as far as from that eye test? What type of movement does it have? Does it run? Does it sink? Does it tail? You know, as far as the changeup, does the changeup have more depth to it, or does it have more fade to it? All of those things you're going to get by taking early.
Hit well into left field. Ambling over. Duvall makes the catch right at the cut of the warning track. Lamb gave it a ride to the opposite field. That's now 4 consecutive retired by Castillo. Preston, can the position player, when they're sitting on the bench watching other batters hit, is there things that they can learn, or is it strictly word of mouth? The first couple of hitters have to tell the other batters.
Well, you get both. There's some things you can learn by watching, but the really key information comes from that guy who comes back from the plate, whether he had success or not, can tell you, hey, you know, the fastball, even though that gun says 93, it looks harder than 93, or it's got that late hop on it. Those guys are the most unselfish as far as, in my opinion, when you're talking about ball players, because when you have a bad at bat.
Owings hits it right through the wickets. Scooter Gennett sees that ball go right to the legs. First base runner for Arizona, and it'll be an error on the third baseman.
Yeah, this ball was squared up very well. Look at the swing. See Owings right there. Good swing, and just didn't quite get the hands out in front. You see the hands behind the eyes. That's when the problems happen. You got to get that glove out. It goes ball, glove, eyes, and right there, that wasn't a sequence. It was ball, eyes, glove, and that's when you lose the ball.
You're not just trying to figure out this utility man thing. Had been generally a second baseman in his Milwaukee career, but now trying to figure out some outfield spots as well as third base.
And that's going to happen. A guy who changes positions, they're going to run into times where they're just not quite set properly. You know, you have a lot more time at second base or shortstop. It's always said you play the ball in the middle infield. On the corners, the ball plays you. And right there, he just didn't have his hand set out front to make the adjustment.
Brandon Drury, the batter. (2-0). Drury, a nice start to his year. First time that Luis Castillo dealing with a bit of adversity. Runner on at first, 1 out. It's now 3-0. Owings can run a bit at first. And a 4-pitch walk. So the first time having to throw out of the stretch, and Castillo can't throw a strike in 4 attempts. The canvas event of the summer hits South Beach when baseball's biggest stars take the field for the MLB All-Star Game. It's just a couple of days away. Tuesday, 7:30 Eastern, only on Fox. And Preston Wilson, you yourself, a former All-Star, you will be in the building. Looking forward to a wonderful time.
Oh, yeah, I will be there. I get to watch the All-Star Game. I'm not working, so I get to enjoy all the festivities. Get to be there for the home run derby, catch the celebrity softball game, get to catch some of that. And then, of course, the All-Star Game. just to be able to see all those greats on the field at one time. It's an experience that if you get a chance to do it, please go see it, because it's a wonderful event.
Tuesday night on Fox. That's now 5 consecutive pitches that have missed the strike zone by Castillo, working a Ketel Marte. Maybe chased a pitch. So 5 consecutive balls thrown. And then Marte expands his strike zone to chase a pitch.
Yeah, these are the guys that it's actually, you can understand why you do expand, because you don't have a whole lot of reaction time. If it's a guy that throws 91 to 94, it's a lot easier to lay off those pitches. But when a guy throws 95, 98, on up to 100 like Castillo does, it's harder to be able to wait that little bit to be able to say, okay, this is a ball or strike. Your decision has to be made a little bit sooner.
Broken bat, fouled on the right field side. Well, it's a really small sample size. This is just the 4th start for Luis Castillo. But for the most part, he's done pretty well when runners get on. You see bases empty, the batting average of 351. Runners on 231, very respectable. And runners in scoring position, he is Clayton Kershaw-esque.
Yeah, that's downright stingy with the 0.39 with the runners in scoring position. I think that changeup has a lot to do with it. When you're throwing that changeup off of a 98 miles an hour fastball, you're going to get some weak contact or a lot of swings and misses.
The actual number 1 for 17. Batting average against with runners in scoring position. Well, good work there. And Marte is out number 2. Second strikeout for Castillo.
Yeah, his ball naturally runs back over the plate a little bit. He's one of those guys who that front side tends to fly open a little bit. So you're going to get that ball running back over the plate. And with that velocity, you got that late movement. It's really tough on hitters.
Next in line, the number 8 hitter, center fielder Ray Fuentes.
But that's one of the things we talked about earlier as a hitter. When you go up there, you come back and, hey, he's got late movement, and it tends to run back to the righties, or it's going to run away from the lefties.
High pop up. This should be out number 3. Looks like Castillo's going to work around the error and the walk. He does. We've played 2 here in the desert. 3-0 lead for Cincinnati. Top of the 3rd inning, the Reds a 3-0 lead over the Diamondbacks. Joey Votto leads things off for Cincinnati here in the 3rd. Votto, Duvall, And Jeanette to bat against Taijuan Walker. And that is something that Joey Votto would never have done in years past. He swings and misses at the first pitch.
Yeah, but it's hard to consistently go up there and take that first pitch. And I was going to say this earlier, but I know the at bat hit the home run on that very next pitch. It's hard to give away a strike. You know, you only get so many pitches that you can drive and hit. And once you get a reputation for taking that first pitch, and you got these guys just throwing me, get me over fastballs, you realize you're giving away a lot. Doesn't mean you can't still have that same intensity. Doesn't mean you can't still have that same game plan. But if you give away a third of what it takes to get you out, you're giving yourself an uphill battle. You really are.
Three balls and 2 strikes to Votto. He homered his last time up. A few Canadians out there watching. It was a significant home run for him. It is home run number 247. That ties him with Justin Morneau for the 3rd most home runs among players born in Canada. Tremendous opposite field power. And that's classic Joey Votto. He works the walk. His 61st walk on the year, leads the National League in that category, and leadoff man aboard here in the 3rd. I know there's someone out there in Nova Scotia wondering who the other home run guys from Canada are. Number 1 all time, your former teammate Larry Walker, number 1 of the Bullet. He's got 383 homers. Matt Stairs, the pride of New Brunswick, 265, and Votto is hot on his trail, tied with Justin Morneau with 247. Deep to right off the bat of Duvall. This ball keeps gearing all the way out to the track. Goes Owings to make the play. Allowed out number 1.
I know it's a little thing, but Owings did a really good job of working behind that, because when you look at Joey Votto, he was thinking about tagging. And if you're a lazy outfielder and you don't get behind that ball, that's a long throw, especially when you're on your heels, and a guy like Joey Votto, who is opportunistic, is going to take second base on you. So good job by Owings. And I got to say it because he's a guy who plays so many different positions. Sometimes you can just kind of get caught going through the motions out there. But that was good work getting behind that ball in right field, making sure Votto doesn't take an easy base on you going to second.
Scooter Gennett. 0-1. Scooter Gennett wearing that number 4 for Cincinnati that for so many years was the property of Brandon Phillips. High drive, deep right center. This one is playable. Just in front of the warning track, play made by Fuentes. So a couple balls hit well against Walker, but fly outs to deep right center, and before that, right field.
Right fielder Scott Schebler.
Here's Scott Schebler. Schebler, originally property of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Was drafted in the 26th round back in 2010. He comes from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Preston, really hard to get drafted as a high school player out of Iowa. They play their high school baseball season in the summer, actually after the amateur draft.
Wow. Yeah, you got to really be eye-popping then.
Yeah, you're basically getting drafted on your junior year numbers. Schebler, like so many Iowa players, going the collegiate route. He went to a junior college. Junior college in Des Moines. Put up huge numbers. Dodgers thought he was for real. Popped him in the 26th round, and he shot through the Dodgers chain. Impressing at every level. Was included in a trade to Cincinnati, and the Reds just love him. Shift is on for him. Foul tipped into the catcher's glove. Votto still on at first, led off this inning with a walk. Issued in the inning. Shortstop Marte on the right side of the infield makes the play. It's a 3-0 Cincinnati lead. We're live, Chase Field, Phoenix, Arizona. 3-0 lead for the Cincinnati Reds. They have all of the game's hits. They came back in the first inning. Run scoring triple by Zach Kozar, and a Joey Votto opposite field 2-run home run. Luis Castillo got into a bit of trouble in the second inning after the error committed by first baseman Scooter Gennett. He walked Brandon Drury on 4 pitches, but no damage done. For the Diamondbacks, the pitcher Walker leads things off.
See Castillo thinking these guys are hunting that first pitch fastball, even though it's a pitcher. Trying to get a better feel for his off-speed stuff right there. Back-to-back changeups. And then a slider.
Ball and 2 strikes. After Walker, the top of the order, Descalso and Herman. If anyone gets aboard, Paul Goldschmidt will bat here in the third.
I'm looking at Castillo, and he kind of reminds me of the arm slot or arm angle of Pedro Martinez. Like that low sling. Pedro really worked hard on keeping that front side closed a little bit longer, but that wide arm angle there where it's not quite up top 3/4 reminds me of the arm slot of Pedro.
Called strike 3. Walker is down on strikes. First time through the order, Castillo has struck out 3.
Let's get a look at this motion from the side. He's not quite all the way up there, but yeah, he's got a little bit of Pedro Martinez in that motion right there, I think. Oof.
I'll tell you what, Preston, for a guy who's 24 years of age, who is 6'2", 190 pounds, It's kind of hard to believe this is only his 4th big league start. A guy who can rush it up there 98, 99. Not only that, he's been traded so many times.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants velocity, so whenever a team's trying to make a move to get better, he's going to be a piece that somebody wants. You know, sometimes just because you get traded a lot doesn't mean you're good. It means a lot of people want you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just have a hard time believing that so many people would say, I'm willing to let him go. And look at the average speed of the fastball of Castillo. This is just his 4th game, but only Noah Syndergaard throws it harder consistently than Castillo. Oh, 0-2 to Descalso. Misses outside the zone. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now this is a shot in the arm for the Cincinnati Reds. This is a team that has struggled mightily with their pitching staff this year.
Ooh.
3-2 with a 99-mile-an-hour pitch that misses near the noggin of Descalso.
Yeah, this is when you got to kind of collect yourself as a hitter and brush that out of your mind and just get back on task. As you can see, he wasn't too happy about that.
Called strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts to begin this 3rd inning for Castillo.
Yeah, when you get 99 up by your eyes and then the guy drops an 86 miles an hour changeup on you, there's not much you can do. Look at the rotation on it, fade away to see Descalso give up on it. And right there, right on the edge of the plate. You just got to tip your cap at that one.
Here's Chris Herman. 4 years with the Twins. Now his 2nd season here in Arizona. Something about left-handed catchers. Softly hit. Second baseman. Peraza makes the play. A 1-2-3 inning for the rookie Castillo. The 4th is next. Monday Night Hoops is on FS1. Chauncey Billups returns to try and help the Killer Threes get their first win of the season. The Big Three continues Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, only on FS1. Preston Wilson, have you been following the Big Three?
You know what? I have watched it a little bit. I watched it, and you could tell they were a little bit rusty the first few minutes or so, but they started balling after that. You start to see that competitive juices flowing, see like some really strong pick and rolls out there. You know, and they said Dr. J is a coach on the sideline. What's not to like?
Former NBA players playing 3-on-3 basketball for some high stakes.
Yeah, and for all you kids out there who don't know who Dr. J is, Dr. J was Kobe Bryant before he was Michael Jordan, before he was Michael Jordan. That's who Dr. J is. Yeah.
On the ground softly to third, scooped up by Lamb. Has enough arm to get Peraza out at first.
Oh, look at that. Nice little pick there at the end. Lammy just over there doing it. Nice little hop throw. Yo, this guy, man, he's really come on and become quite a complete player. You will always talk about the offense with the 20 home runs and the 60-something RBIs, 67 RBIs, but he's solidified that third base position for Arizona as well.
Tucker Barnhart swings at the first pitch, chops it foul. And we're talking about other sports besides baseball. I always like it when baseball players play other sports.
Yeah.
Tucker Barnhart sure did. High school kid growing up in Brownsburg, Indiana. Flip down the left field line. That one's going to be extra bases. Barnhart on his way to second. He'll make it standing with a one-out double. Maybe that was his former backhand that he had back in high school. He was an elite high school tennis player.
Oh, wow.
Growing up in Brownsburg, Indiana.
Well, then, of course it was then.
Oh, that's a total backhand move.
Oh, that's nice right there. See that head right behind the baseball. Let that ball get nice and deep. Shot it the other way. Using the whole field. A lot of hits out there.
But how about this? When he played high school tennis, he wasn't the best player in his team. The best player was Gordon Hayward.
Wow.
Of NBA fame. They both played high school tennis together in Indianapolis, Indiana. Brownsburg High School. Here's the pitcher. Luis Castillo struck out back in the second inning. Runner on at second with one out. Reds have all of 3 hits. They've all been extra bases. A double, triple, and a homer.
Well, you saw Brian Price electing to let Castillo swing the bat right there. Never know, might get him a fastball right down the middle. Let him drive in a run.
Ball and 2 strikes. Pitcher versus pitcher. Already a 3-0 lead for Cincinnati. Tardy on the 94-mile-an-hour heater. Walker. That is strikeout number 2. 2 outs here in the 4th inning. MLB.com at bat is your #1 mobile app for live baseball. Stay connected with a fully customizable experience. Get club-branded home screen icons and app features as well as game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcasts, StatsCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat today. It is a wonderful thing.
You know, we were talking about baseball players playing other sports. If you get a chance, Google Patrick Corbin dunking a basketball.
Ah, I've seen it.
Oh, it's a fun thing to watch. So, you know, it kind of ties into our athletes as far as baseball players doing other things. He'll surprise you. When I saw that, I was like, whoa, he's got some ups, man.
Here's Billy Hamilton. He's walked twice against Walker. Showing bunt, takes a called strike, 1-1. Now, for all the things that Billy Hamilton does well, generally does not draw a whole bunch of walks. So walking twice already is significant for him.
And it's something that I think he's going to get better at throughout his career. He's going to learn what he can and can't hit. I think that's really what that process begins with. Your process, your development as a hitter really grows when you learn what you can't handle. Then you learn to lay off those pitches. I had a batting coach tell me one time, he said, you either got to learn to take it or you got to learn to hit it. So those are the only two options, because if not, you're going to keep coming back to the dugout talking to me, trying to figure out why.
He's never walked 3 times in a major league game. He's already walked twice in his first 2 plate appearances. Count evens, 2-2. Well, Hamilton, without putting the ball in play, has seen 17 pitches so far against Walker. 17 of the 73 pitches thrown by Walker have been thrown to Billy Hamilton. And I think every Red with 2 strikes chokes up. Into left field, that'll get down. Here comes Barnhart. The throw from Descalso is cut off. It's an RBI single for Hamilton. 4-0 Cincinnati.
Well, this is the night that Billy Hamilton needed. Got himself 2 walks, then the 2 out, 2 strike. RBI does a great job, not trying to do too much with this pitch, just really waits on it, slaps it the other way. Nice compact swing. Nice job, Billy Hamilton. Oh, and with 2 outs, 2 strikes, you know that play at the plate isn't going to be close.
So the Reds have now hit for the cycle as a team. They've got 4 hits, a single, a double, a triple, and a homer. And Hamilton, who's already stolen 2 bases, is on at first. There he goes. Oh, that was a good pitch to throw. And it looked like the catcher, Herman, just couldn't get it out of his glove.
But that's what speed does for you. He knows that Billy Hamilton's over there, so it could be a perfect pitch to throw, and he's still thinking, I got to be perfect. I got to get it out great. And he doesn't quite get the handle. That's what speed does to you. Speed will make you make mistakes in situations that you would not normally make mistakes.
3 swipes tonight for Hamilton, and we're only in the 4th inning. Oh, 0-2 to Cozart. All-star shortstop, 31 years of age, from Ole Miss. Diamondbacks lost 3 consecutive games in LA earlier this week, but then bounced back to win last night, opener of this 3-game series, 6-3, riding ace Zach Greinke to the W. Probably the perfect pitcher for the Diamondbacks to have going to try and get back to their winning ways. Not only is he one of the best, but he is unbeatable here in this building. 9-0 pitching at Chase Field here in 2017.
And that's saying something, because this ballpark, Chase Field, is known as having one of the better batter's eye in all of baseball. The ball looks huge of that big dark green batter's eye. And to say that you can be that good in this ballpark means that you are always 1 pitch ahead of the batter. You're understanding what the weaknesses are and you're attacking them. And you're not getting into vulnerable counts that often. That's the other part of it. When you're constantly working ahead, you're not that vulnerable. And I think that's what Zach Greinke does best in this ballpark, work ahead.
High fly ball, medium deep right field. Owings makes the catch side retired, but Walker gives up another. The Reds lead 4-0. Everyone here in Phoenix wrapped in attention right now. Paul Goldschmidt leads things off for the home team. Goldschmidt, Jake Lamb, Chris Owings. Diamondbacks putting their best foot forward here in the fourth inning. Look at the numbers. Paul Goldschmidt. Good golly, Miss Molly. Leading the National League in on-base percentage, .429. Runs scored kind of goes hand in hand with that. Leading the National League in that category as well.
He's their Mr. Everything. I mean, we've seen this guy steal 20 bases before in a season, so he's got that element of his game as well. But man, just he's so good as far as executing his game plan. You know, we talked to Torey Lovullo before the game today, and one of the things he said was what sets Goldschmidt apart is not his athletic ability, but his baseball IQ. He has a plan for everything. Offense, defense, at bats. There's always a plan and play.
And that's the first base hit for the Diamondbacks against Luis Castillo. That's a leadoff single here in the fourth inning by Goldschmidt. Now, Goldschmidt had been in a bit of a funk before the home run in yesterday's game. A down stretch for him, about a 10-game window. But the people who follow him closely say that he's probably coming out of it. He hit an opposite field home run yesterday, and that's generally a sign of good things to come.
Well, I was here for that, and it was an 0-2 pitch, up and out over the plate, barely got part of the strike zone, and he shot it out to right center, just to the right field side of the pool out there. And he looks like he was a lot more comfortable last night than he had been in recent games.
First pitch to Jake Lamb is a ball, and there'll be a meeting on the mound between the catcher Barnhart and the pitcher Castillo. And it's not just Paul Goldschmidt. He's got the 20 home runs. Jake Lamb has got 20 home runs as well. When you think about Diamondbacks through the years, only one other pair of D-back teammates 20 homers before the All-Star break. You got to go back to 1999 with Jay Bell and Matt Williams, the last time you could make that claim.
Yeah, I got to watch Jay Bell and Matt Williams do a lot of that damage when I was in a Florida Marlins uniform, who are now the Miami Marlins. But yeah, I remember seeing that act. Jay Bell, Matt Williams, both of those guys just out there laying it out there. And then you see, fast forward to now, these two guys, man, they're third baseman, first baseman, home runs, RBIs. This can carry a franchise for a few years, two guys like this. You know, then you sprinkle in a Brandon Drury, sprinkle in a Chris Owings. I mean, they have the makings of a competitive ball club for years to come right now.
Yeah, and David Peralta not in the lineup today, just getting a day off, but Peralta puts up numbers. Yeah, A.J. Pollock.
The incredibly gifted defensively Nick Ahmed at shortstop, who may be one of the top shortstops defensively in the league.
Got to be careful with Goldschmidt. He will run. Stolen 13 bags on the year. Yeah, when you're talking about the thought process and the game planning for Paul Goldschmidt, when we talked to manager Torey Lovullo, those aren't his only attributes. He also mentioned he is a heck of an athlete.
Oh, yeah. And it's unusual to see, and we talked about this earlier today, a first baseman that throws right-handed, hits right-handed, that is athletically gifted as Paul Goldschmidt. Because usually they'll find some place to play that guy, whether it be third base, left field. But to be that physically gifted and athletic at first base is pretty unusual.
Now you think of Miguel Cabrera.
Right.
The Detroit Tigers, he is a right-handed hitting, right-handed throwing first baseman, but he came up in the Marlins chain and he was an everyday shortstop.
Yeah.
Just got converted to third and then left field early in his career to get his bat in lineup. But Cabrera coming up was an uber athlete.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Goldschmidt has been a first baseman from the get-go. Two balls and two strikes to Lamb. High drive, center field. Hamilton ambles over. And Goldschmidt thought about taking an extra base. Would have been a bad idea.
but Goldschmidt forces you to play every part of the game correctly. He concedes nothing. And that's a very easy part for a base runner, just to see that fly ball and just kind of amble off first base and then go back and wait there. But he concedes nothing. He's going to make you complete that drill from beginning to end. Get behind the ball, get off a good throw, and throw it accurately.
Here's Chris Owings. Owings is this year's jackknife for the Diamondbacks. Plays everywhere. Playing out in right field today. Native of the Palmetto State. He's from Gilbert, South Carolina.
Little South Carolina boy. There's a couple of those guys in the building tonight.
You're from where? Bamberg?
Bamberg, South Carolina. That's right. Ain't a whole lot of it, but it's there.
Now there's someone in the building in uniform, right?
You know,
from your high school.
There is. There have only been 3 people from Bamberg Earhart High School to ever play in the big leagues. 2 of them have the last name of Wilson, and the other one is right there, Zach Godley from BE High, Bamberg Earhart in South Carolina. Tell you what, kid's having a great year too. He's pitching very well, and I'm proud of him. I'm proud to see another kid from our little old high school come up here and do well.
Mookie Wilson, Preston Wilson.
Yep. It's Zach Godley. He's got good stuff too, man. Everything he throws moves. It does.
He's been a godsend for this rotation.
The rumor has it they don't let him play fetch with the dog because he can't throw the ball straight.
That's a good problem to have. Foul tipped into the catcher's glove, a ball and 2 strikes. Now, one thing we've noticed out of the pitcher, Luis Castillo, he's a fast worker until someone gets aboard.
I've been impressed with the number of strikes that he's thrown, because usually when you see a pitcher fall off that way or that front side flies open a little bit, usually there are command issues, but he's had a pretty good ball strike ratio this game.
You're telling folks at home that he reminded you of another player from the Dominican, and Pedro Martinez. If you squint a little bit more, there's another player, not quite the same stature as Pedro Martinez, that he reminds me of.
Okay.
Julian Tavares.
Oh, I played with Julian a couple places. I played with Julian with the Marlins and with the St. Louis Cardinals.
Also a Cleveland Indian.
Yeah.
Kind of a tall, thin right-hander. All elbows and knees.
We called him Yo-Yo. Is his nickname.
Fly ball, deep right field. Schebler.
And I know you guys are wondering, why would they call him Yo-Yo? Well, he was one of those mercurial personalities where you didn't quite know whether he was going to be happy or sad, so we called him Yo-Yo. Is he up or is he down? Is he up or is he down?
Haven't talked about Julian Tavares in a big league game for a while. 2 down. Goldschmidt still anchored to first. Brandon Drury. Mentioned that Chris Owings is from Gilbert, South Carolina. Drury's from the other part of the country. Grants Pass, Oregon. Southern Oregon, close to the California border.
Wonder if that's out there in Harold Reynolds country.
Oh, yes, it is. And when people talk about great players to come from the state of Oregon, if you're of a certain age, the player that jumps off everyone's tongue is Danny Ainge.
Yeah.
Danny Ainge was just an absolute phenom, both as a baseball player and as a basketball player. Richie Sexton. Ball and a strike to Drury. He was signed, go to Oregon State. But then the Diamondbacks drafted him in the appropriate slot and said, you know what, I'm going to give pro ball a try. That's the ultimate goal. So he said no to the Beavers. foul. Wow. That's hard to get a ball fair past Votto where he was positioned.
Yeah, there wasn't much room over there. But it's also one of those things that the first baseman never expects a ball hit that hard by a right-hander to go past you on your glove side if you were left-handed. Look at that. I mean, there's not a whole lot of reaction right there.
Two pretty good first basemen have been anchored to each other all inning long.
Yeah. Wonder what that conversation was like. Hey, man, you pretty good? You know what? Yeah, you're pretty good, too. Yeah.
They're both talking about something they're looking at in the third deck with that fighter pilot vision they both have. Two balls and two strikes to Drury. After the Goldschmidt single to begin this inning. Flyouts by Lamb and Owings. Well, so far, first time and a half through the lineup, Castillo has been an extreme flyout inducer. 6 fly ball outs, only 1 ground ball out. Maybe you can get away with that in a ballpark like this, but in Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, that's not generally something that is an indication of long-term success.
No, that's you definitely don't want to be a fly ball pitcher in that ballpark. But I tell you, he generates enough swings and misses, though, that he may be able to offset some of it.
That's off the body of Drury. Reds trying to get 4 shutout innings from Luis Castillo. Reds pitching staff has really struggled this year. That's the understatement of the season. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Drury. And another foul ball. Preston Wilson, that is the 10th foul ball hit by the Diamondbacks against Castillo in this inning alone.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to find a way to stay on that changeup. I think the velocity they've finally gotten a pretty good gauge on. And when he leaves the changeup up, they're getting a piece of it. But I think if he is able to get this changeup down, if he throws another one over the plate but down, he's going to get a swing and miss. Looks like that's what they want, the change up there. Get it down, get it over the plate, and you get yourself a swing and a miss.
This one's going to be playable. The changeup is popped to shallow right. Second baseman Peraza makes the play. Great place to be on a 105-degree day in Phoenix. Reds leading the Diamondbacks 4-0. Top of the 5th inning. Joey Votto again swings at the first pitch. Second time in 3 at-bats that he has swung at the first pitch, and he flies out to left field. First time that Votto has been retired. 2-run home run in the 1st inning and a leadoff walk in the 3rd, but he's out number 1 here in the 5th.
Left fielder Adam Duvall.
With Preston Wilson, I'm Eric Collins. Diamondback fans stunned right now. They play great baseball here at home. 33-13. 20 games over in this building. But they're losing right now to the Reds, who struggle on the road. 15 games below 500 as a visiting team.
Well, Luis Castillo has really done a good job of keeping the Arizona Diamondback batters off balance, not letting them zero in on that fastball, complementing it with a good changeup, throwing just enough sliders to keep them honest, make them have to honor that pitch. And on Taijuan Walker's side, he has been, you know, I would not say the beneficiary, but he's been the recipient of some tough breaks. You know, a couple pitches didn't go his way, a couple balls that were just inside the line, and you got a 4-0 ball game.
There is a chance this may be the final inning for Walker. His team down 4-0. He is at the 84 pitch mark. He's supposed to hit 3rd when we get to the bottom of this 5th inning. Duvall to the shortstop. Play is made by Marte. Want to see the world in one night? Earth Live is a 2-hour special event that brings you real-time wildlife coverage from across the globe. Hosted by Jane Lynch, Earth Live premieres tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on National Geographic.
I love stuff like that.
I do too.
I'm such a documentary head. I have more useless knowledge about stuff like that than I'll ever need. I really do.
Quickly, 2 outs here in the top of the 5th inning. Here's Scooter Gennett. Just getting ready for this game. Was stunned to see some numbers about Gennett. Obviously, everyone in the baseball world buzzing about his 4-homer game back on June the 6th. He's actually gotten hotter since that June 6th game. Wasn't really an everyday player when he hit the 4 home runs in a game, but he really got on Brian Price's radar screen with that wonderful, historic evening. And he's gotten even hotter since. He has been among the best in baseball since his bust-out 4-homer game. Putting up Joey Votto type numbers. Take a look at this. Since June 18th, Scooter Gennett, 3rd in the National League in batting average, hitting close to 400. That's Rod Carew range, but with power. 7 homers.
Wait a second.
20 runs scored, leading all of the National League.
1st in home runs since June 18th.
And that's post his 4-home run game.
Wow. Yeah, that's impressive.
There's a reason he's playing 3rd base today. They got to find a place to play him. 2nd, 3rd, left field. That bat needs to have a home. Got on top of that one. Oh my! Just tomahawks it into the right field seats. On cue. Scooter, how do you do? It's a 5-0 lead for Cincinnati.
Are you kidding me? That ball had to be chest high almost, and he absolutely got on top of it. Leans on it and shoots a laser out to right field. This ball is chest high. That's right about at the 4 on his uniform, maybe right at the Cincinnati. Gets on top of it, throws that barrel, and boom!
A new career high for Scooter Gennett, his 15th homer. And he's done it all pre-All-Star break. Just incredible. Second homer of the ball game for the Cincinnati Reds. Votto and Gennett. That means 4 different Reds. Duvall, Votto, Schebler, and Gennett, all with 15 or more homers before the All-Star break. That's a new age big red machine. Schebler 0 for 2.
I don't care what angle you see it from. It's pretty. It doesn't matter where you look at it from. That's just pretty.
Called strike 3. Walker picks himself up and strikes out Schebler, but he gives up another run. Scooter Gennett, number 15. Sponsored by the Hartford. When the unexpected strikes, the Hartford strikes back with small business insurance. 5-0 lead for the visitors. Cincinnati Reds on top of the Diamondbacks. Bottom of the 5th inning. Ketel Marte called strike 1. Marte, Fuentes, and then the pitcher spot. Luis Castillo has been the truth. He's allowed just 1 base hit through the first 4 innings. He's gotten some help, a little bit of a cushion, courtesy of Scooter Gennett, Joey Votto, Zach Cozart. Let Billy Hamilton in the mix as well.
Yeah, right now, what you want is for Castillo to just pound that strike zone. That velocity and the movement is going to keep him off the barrel, but just pound that strike zone because he needs to get into the 6 innings. He has not pitched in 6 innings in any of his starts yet this year. So that should be a good goal for him tonight.
Tardy, 97 miles per hour, out number 1. Let's head back to our studios in LA for a game break. Here's Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin, thank you so much. And these Diamondbacks, they keep looking and watching the Dodgers and hoping that maybe they'll slip on a banana peel. Dodgers have now won 25 of their last 29.
Yeah, they are just continuing to roll. Dave Roberts has really gotten that team to buy into everything that he's selling over there.
That's got to be a little bit disheartening if you're the Diamondbacks and you're sitting there 19 games over 500. And you've got the Dodgers just on cruise control, already a 60-win team.
Yeah, but you can only control what you can. Those teams are playing well. You see Colorado's playing well. The Dodgers are playing well. But as it stands right now, if Arizona keeps on pace, they will find themselves in the postseason.
Hard smash off the bat of Fuentes, but hit it to the wrong man. Billy Hamilton with the squeeze.
Again, great job by Castillo, pounding that strike zone, just keep filling up those strikes. Pitch count is relatively low at 77 pitches right now through 4 2/3.
Taijuan Walker, number 5.
Jake Barrett getting loose in the bullpen. He will come on. The night is over for Taijuan Walker. He leaves, giving up those 5 runs, all of them earned. He's lifted in place of Gregor Blanco. Blanco takes called strike 1. Veteran outfielder going to work with 2 outs here in the 5th. Coming off the bench trying to hit 97 up by your eyeballs.
Blanco does something you don't usually see, or usually you didn't see before the maple bat came into play. Watch how he twirls the bat in his hands. Before, you always made sure you hit the ball on the grains, like going across the grain. See how he twirls that bat? With maple bats, you don't have to be as concerned about hitting the ball against the grains. So guys tend to do that more. But when everybody was using ash, you usually held the bat in one particular position, so that way when you swung, you would go along the grains.
Backhanded by Votto. Castillo wins the race over to first. More talk about grains and lumber when we return to Arizona. Top of the 6th inning with my partner Preston Wilson. I'm Eric Collins. We were talking about bats, maple and ash. Explain what you're talking about.
Yeah, see right here on the ash, the labels here. So against the grain, right here is where you used to have to hit the ball with the ash. But maple, they actually say it's okay to hit it there on the flat side, which is a little bit different. But you can see how the grains are lined up right there. See how the straight lines go right there along? That's where you were supposed to hit it before. Now with the maple, guys aren't as concerned about where you hit the ball.
Did you swing exclusively ash when you were a player?
I swung ash for the first 4 or 5 years of my career, then I moved to maple after that. And the reason why is you can keep it one bat longer. Maple tends to not break as often. When it does break, it tends to shatter. But when you use ash, it can peel, it can flake. So with maple, you got that same feel with that same bat for a longer period of time. man, holding his bat up here, making.
Getting a little.
It's not making me want to step back in the batter's box. Let's not go that far. It just feels good. Yeah. Because I'm seeing some 97s and 98s rolling up there. I don't want no parts of them problems tonight.
Do have a new pitcher. Taijuan Walker is out. Goes the first 5. Gives up 5 runs. All of them earned. This is Jake Barrett. He's pitching for the second time in as many nights. Just recently recalled from AAA Reno. He is a native right here in Phoenix and went to school in Tempe, Arizona State. He was rock solid last year's first go around as a big leaguer. Banged up in spring training, started his year in AAA.
Oof.
Peraza swings and misses. A 4-pitch strikeout. 1 out here in the 6th.
Really good slider. Starts out as a strike, then fades off the plate, down and away. Perfect 2-strike pitch. Very well executed by Barrett.
Next in line, Tucker Barnhart. Opposite field double back in the 4th inning. 1 of 4 extra base hits for the Reds. A double, a triple, and 2 homers. Popping the glove, 97 miles per hour. 2-0.
Yeah, that made me put the bat down real quick just now.
Barnhart going to do the lion's share of the catching for at least a while. Devin Mesoraco again on the disabled list. They can get Mesoraco healthy. He's a difference maker, but he's been banged up for a couple of seasons now. Barnhart a good option to have. Brian Price, Jim Riggleman. Yeah, the brain trust for the Reds has to be happy to make it to the 5th inning with a shutout cooking, because we mentioned how poor the pitching has been for Cincinnati. You really can't point the finger at the bullpen. The bullpen has done a good job. It's been the starting rotation that has really lagged.
Yeah, this year the bullpen has really done a great job as far as whenever they've been called into action. They've done an admirable job, but the starting pitching has really not been good for Cincinnati.
Into center field. Fuentes makes the play. Crush home runs and dominate in your very own Derby competition in the official MLB.com Home Run Derby game on the App Store and Google Play. Swing for the fences against more than 10 million players from around the world as your favorite Derby All-Star. Download Home Run Derby for free today.
There's going to be some people trying to sign in as Scooter Gennett. The way he's hitting the ball out of the ballpark right now.
Castillo, big hack. 0-1. Couple of strikeouts for Castillo. Yeah, if you missed it an inning ago, Scooter Gennett, home run number 15. On the ground, right side from the outfield grass. Drury throws out the pitcher Castillo. Good job by Barrett coming out of the pen. Home half of the 6th when we return. for our troops, building mortgage-free, specially adapted homes nationwide for severely injured post-9/11 veterans. Learn more about how Home for Our Troops is rebuilding lives and visit foxsportsupports.com. Luis Castillo has done a remarkable job, just his 4th big league start.
Oh, just a really good changeup right there. Fastball blowing guys away. Again with the changeup, definitely did a good job of keeping the Arizona Diamondback hitters from zoning up on one pitch in one location. And it's reflective with the 5 innings of work, only allowing 1 hit, 1 walk, and 5 Ks.
Well, how about this for Castillo? If he can make it through this inning, this is what he would accomplish. First pitch swung on and missed by Descalso. In the last 27 games played by the Reds, only one Cincinnati starter has gotten through the 6th inning with no runs allowed. Scott Feldman back on June 30th against the Cubs. 27 games. That's almost 1/5 of the season. Castillo has looked apart. Still has his good stuff. Induces a 2-hopper to the first baseman, Votto. And Descalso is now 0 for 3. And we're talking the historic struggles for the Cincinnati Reds. National League all-time, only the Rockies and the Phillies with a higher starting pitcher ERA. The Rockies 1999, you weren't part of that club, were you?
No, I was not. Nope.
Not there yet, okay. And the Phillies way back in 1930, that was a bad time for the Phillies. 1929 was a bad year as well.
Yeah, when you talk about all time and you're putting up those numbers, Brian Price has got to be ecstatic about what he's getting out of Luis Castillo tonight. To see that this young man is still throwing 98 in the 6th inning, pitch count relatively low at 85, and has really only surrendered 1 hit.
Chris Herman fouls it away, 1-1. Yeah, 3 weeks ago, Luis Castillo was a Blue Wahoo. He was playing in the Southern League for the Pensacola Blue Wahoos, but went on a nice little streak, improved his command, and the Reds noticed. This is his 4th big league start, looking for his first win. Actually left the game with a win. His first 2 starts, bullpen gave it up.
The most impressive thing that I've seen from Castillo tonight has not just been that he's thrown strikes, it's when he's had at bats where he's lost the strike zone, he's able to get back in the strike zone within a couple pitches. And that's really tough for a young guy. Sometimes when the mechanics leaves you, you start searching and trying to find how to get it back. But he's done a really good job of finding those mechanics relatively quickly after he's lost the strike zone.
And for a guy who's 24 years of age and who consistently rushes it up there at 98, 99, I just find it so hard to believe that he's been traded 3 separate times. Signed undrafted free agent as amateur player out of the Dominican, signed with San Francisco. They traded him to Miami. The Marlins tried to trade him to San Diego. The trade was rescinded. And then the Marlins trade him to Cincinnati. So he has been a man on the move. And for someone with that type of stuff and that type of body,
well, I'm telling you, that means a lot of people want him. I mean, you can say that a guy isn't as coveted by the organization that he's with if he's moved that much, but there's also consistently other teams seeing that talent and going, we want that in our uniform.
Paul Goldschmidt, America's first baseman, takes a healthy cut and misses at 99 miles per hour.
I've been really impressed by the command and the control of Castillo to be able to pound the strike zone. Only 3 3-ball counts tonight, and with a guy that throws 99 to 100 as we've seen tonight, that's impressive. And more so, the control with the off-speed pitches. We've seen a lot of outs gotten on off-speed pitches in the strike zone, whether it be pop-up, weak ground balls, or swing and misses, because he's been that good.
The Reds have used 13 different starting pitchers this year. And my question to you is, he's the 13th best they could rush out there?
You know what? Sometimes you got to toggle through all those guys to find something you like. And tell you what, there's not much not to like about Luis Castillo tonight.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Goldschmidt.
This is going to be an interesting pitch right here. I wonder what he's going to go with. Goldschmidt is known to be really good with 2 strikes.
Yeah. Pitch. Oh my! The good times continue for Luis Castillo. Another strikeout for the right-hander, his 6th, a shutout through the 6th inning. Arizona. Here's tonight's game summary sponsored by Budweiser.
Oh, Billy Hamilton with the single, got 2 walks and a run scored. Joey Votto and Scooter Gennett both are 2 for 4 and 2 home runs, 3 RBI combined. And Luis Castillo with 6 innings pitched, surrendering 1 hit, 0 runs, and 6 strikeouts on the night.
And it looks like Castillo is in good stead. He'll come on to pitch the bottom of the 7th. We'll have a minimum of a 5-run lead. 5-0 lead for the visitors. Top of the order, Billy Hamilton, Zach Cozart, Joey Votto to bat against the new pitcher, Randall Delgado, who's been a fixture here in Phoenix. His 5th season with the D-backs. He comes on for a 25th time. Hamilton's been a force. He's been aboard 3 times. A couple of walks and a single. Each time he's been aboard, he's stolen second base. Now with 37 steals on the year. Chase to pitch, 3-pitch strikeout by Delgado.
Shortstop.
Delgado, originally property of the Atlanta Braves, was traded 5 seasons ago and has settled in nicely here with the Diamondbacks. Here's all-star shortstop Zach Cozart.
Yeah, Delgado still rushing up there, 94. Still got that really good arm. But Zach Cozart at one point was hitting around 350 this year. You know, I think the one thing people don't really realize is this part of the year, right before the All-Star break, guys tend to start wearing down a little bit because there's not that many off days leading up to the All-Star break because of that 4-day All-Star break. So guys start getting a little more wear and tear. If they can't get those days off, you start seeing the numbers slip a little bit. I mean, that is unless your name is Joey Votto.
That's right. Joey Votto has not played in an All-Star game since 2013. Two-hopper, surrounded by Lamb. 2 down. Here is Joey Votto batting with the bases empty and 2 outs. Was an All-Star in 2010, 11, 12, and 13, but then nothing since. All right, question to you. As a former All-Star, Preston Wilson, Joey Votto, in his All-Star career, does not have a base hit. Do you think if I went up to him post-game, saw him in the clubhouse, and said, Joey, how many hits do you have in an All-Star game? Do you think he would know?
Absolutely.
He's 0 for 9.
Absolutely, he'd know.
All right, do you think he cares?
Oh, yeah, he cares.
Absolutely, really?
Yes.
0 for 9 in an All-Star game bothers Joey Votto.
Yes, because he hasn't been as good as he is, or he doesn't do what he does without things bothering him. Everything bothers this guy. If he swings at a bad pitch, it bothers him. Like if he misses a pitch that he should hit, it bothers him. He's a perfectionist in an imperfect sport.
He's down in the count 0-2.
So yeah, it bothers him.
All right, he's playing for a little something extra on Tuesday. Checks his swing. And Votto's going to get the benefit of the doubt. Well, Votto hasn't played in an All-Star game since 2013. One of the reasons why is because of the Diamondbacks first baseman Paul Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt just got elected to his 5th straight All-Star game. 5 years in a row for Paul Goldschmidt in the Midsummer's Classic. I know one's right-handed, one's left-handed, but you see any similarities between Goldschmidt and Votto?
Yeah, I think both their attention to detail is what really sets them apart. We talked about Goldschmidt and his game plan. Joey Votto has a game plan for every pitcher that he faces, every situation. He understands what he wants to do. He understands what that pitcher is trying to accomplish against him. And more importantly, he understands what he needs, what pitch he needs, or what pitch he's looking for to get his job done at that particular time.
This is amazing. Active players, and this is coveted. 300 batting average, 400 on base percentage, 500 slugging percentage. There's only 3 of them. 2 of them in the ball game. Votto, Goldschmidt, and Mike Trout.
Yeah, you're watching 2 of the very best to do it tonight, and you get to see them both in the same game. Get to see them work their craft. Look at Joey Votto with about 6 inches under his hands of that bat, choked up on it.
All right, got another factoid about Joey Votto. All time, since they first started playing baseball, there are only 11 players with a higher on-base percentage than Joey Votto.
Wow.
He's sitting at 425 coming into tonight's game. 9, Tris Speaker.
Yeah, anytime you start throwing out Speakers, Hornsbys, you know, guys like that, Ty Cobb, you start talking about some elite company, you know.
Hornsby. Yeah, number 1 all time is Ted Williams.
Got to be Teddy Ball.
In case you wondered. Little flipper in the left field. Descalso makes the play. And Votto is retired. He is now 1 for 3 on the evening. Major League Baseball doubleheader on FS1. An age-old rivalry heats up with a new generation of players as Aaron Judge and the Yankees take on the Red Sox at 3 Eastern. Then the Rangers battle the Royals at 7 Eastern on FS1. Reds leading the Diamondbacks 5-0. Starting to get late for the D-backs. Bottom of the 7th inning. They're in trouble. Jake Lamb, Chris Owings, Brandon Drury batting against Luis Castillo, who has been superb. A one-hitter through 6. Sawed off. Could be an infield base hit. Lamb legs it out. Little humpback liner that Zach Kozart had arranged to his right. Can't make the play. That snaps 9 consecutive retired by Castillo.
Yeah, and almost every pitcher is going to tell you, you know what? If they weren't playing that shift, that ball's a routine ball right to the shortstop. And that's my only takeaway from it is when you have a guy that throws as hard as Castillo, sometimes the velocity itself is going to beat the shift. So I think you have to be a little bit judicious when you employ these shifts, depending on the velocity that the guy throws with. Because number one, you're counting on a guy hitting his spots. And number two, you're counting on a hitter doing what he normally does. Well, velocity is going to change what a hitter normally does. So that may take that swing out of the shift. And that's a routine soft fly ball to the shortstop if they're not playing in the shift.
The last base hit given up by Castillo was a leadoff single to Goldschmidt in the 4th inning. He had retired 9 D-backs in a row. And Castillo gets ahead of Owens with 2 quick strikes.
Just so impressive, working ahead, throwing strikes. Know he's at that 100 pitch mark right now. But man, just really impressive outing by Castillo so far. Ooh.
He struck out 6 and only walked 1. Matt Jenkins, pitching coach, enjoying extended time in that dugout for the Reds. He's been beating a path between the dugout and the pitcher's mound all season long. Starting pitching hasn't given him much rest. But tonight, Castillo, a shutout into the 7th inning. And now that good Reds bullpen, an opportunity to pitch in the innings you want them to pitch in. Activity in the Reds bullpen for the first time. Wandy Peralta, Michael Lorenzen. Castillo has been a strike throwing machine.
Got 99. You know, it's just impressive that he's been able to stay out of the middle of the strike zone when he wants to, but then the velocity when he does make a mistake, it allows him to miss a bat. You know, so when you don't throw as hard and you make a mistake in the strike zone, it gets hit more often. But when you have this type of velocity and you've been as good around the strike zone as he has, when you do make that mistake, it's less likely to get hit. And he's feeling it too. You can look at him and tell he's feeling it. Right? He knows he's got that good stuff working tonight.
4th big league start for Castillo, trying to pick up his first major league win. He's had a dickens of a time with Owens. Owens has fouled off 5 pitches in this at bat. 2 balls, 2 strikes. chased. Strikeout number 7 for Castillo.
That changeup's been deadly tonight. Look at the action on it. Got a little sideways tumble rotation, and they just can't differentiate the fastball from the changeup. And you have to gear it up when the guy's throwing 99 in the 7th inning. You can't wait that long to make that decision, and these guys are really having a tough time laying off that changeup, especially with 2 strikes.
Here's Drury. He had an extended at bat his last time against Castillo. Now say this for Brian Price and the smart guys in that dugout for Cincinnati. They have not approached Luis Castillo with kid gloves since he's been called up to the big leagues. His first start, 93 pitches. Second start, 107. His third start, most recently, was on Monday in Colorado, threw 111 pitches.
Well, let's just be honest. The 100 pitch thing, that's an arbitrary number. It's a round number, so people like it, but it's arbitrary. There's nothing in baseball that says the 100 pitch is when you should take a guy out. Like, that's a totally arbitrary number that baseball has somehow latched onto because it's a round number. It's easy to remember, but there's nothing about baseball that says 100 pitches is the time to take a guy out. There's been no studies that say 100 pitches is no.
There have been studies that say, well, maybe not studies, but some people believe that the start after a start in Colorado is sometimes more taxing than others.
Yes, because your body does not recuperate as well. Now that I've said that a long time. I've actually said when you watch a team that pitches in Colorado and there's been like some really stressful outings, when you have a guy pitch in a nut city, there's somebody that's going on a deal. It's almost, when I played in Colorado, I played there for 2.5 years. It was almost like clockwork. If you played a team there and they had some really stressful innings and a guy had to have a heavy workload, when he went and pitched in the next city, he was either going to come out of the game because of arm trouble, or there was going to be someone, whether it be a starter or in that bullpen, was going to head to the DL. It's just such a difference the way your body changes and recuperates from that altitude.
Castillo throwing 111 pitches at altitude in Denver on Monday. And again, getting one of these Diamondbacks hitters to chase a pitch that tumbles out of the strike zone. Back-to-back Ks for Castillo.
I want to see if that was a changeup or the slider, but it looked like the changeup again. Yep, the 2-strike changeup has been almost unhittable for these guys, because in the back of your mind, you don't want to take that 2-strike fastball, and you get out on that front side, and it ends up being a changeup, and there's nothing you can do to hold back.
Ketel Marte. Whole bunch of nothing for the young shortstop. He struck out both times against Castillo.
Yeah, I think one of the best examples was it of Goldschmidt, the last at bat that Goldschmidt had. That's changeup that he got in the chase after throwing a couple balls out of the strike zone.
And Marte has just made a commitment that he is going to be super aggressive against Castillo.
I mean, at this point, it's like, what do you have to lose? When a guy's been this dominant, you just try to switch it up. But the other side of that coin is something that these Diamondbacks fans know a lot about.
Marte reaches out and loops it into right field. Third hit allowed by Castillo. Second hit of the inning. Runners on at first and at second with 2 outs.
And what that is when a guy's been this good, this dominant in a game, and I'm going to take you back to guys like Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling, when they're so good during the game and they've held your offense down, the guys that come out of the bullpen don't look as nasty. So now you have to wonder, are they good, or, you know, when you see somebody come out of the bullpen, you're like, Mike, okay, we got that guy out now. Let's go to work on these other guys. And hopefully that won't happen to Cincinnati tonight, because it's been a great outing by Castillo. But nobody's going to look that nasty that's going to come out of Cincinnati's bullpen right now.
Brian Price wants to make sure that his starter, Luis Castillo, leaves with some good vibes coursing through his veins. Back in a moment. His first big league win. He gets 2 outs here in the 7th inning before being lifted. 8 strikeouts in 6 2/3. He was the truth.
Oh, just absolutely dominant. Had that great changeup work tonight. But this is the guy that's coming to spring, Wandy Peralta. Holds that 3-1 record, got 5 holds with a 3.2 ERA. Opponent's batting average at 190. It's pretty good work there.
25-year-old Peralta. He'll face A.J. Pollock. A.J. Pollock did not get the start. So the decision for Brian Price was Luis Castillo against Ray Fuentes or Wandy Peralta, knowing that A.J. Pollock could come off the bench. I guess after 113 pitches, enough was enough for Castillo.
Well, Wandy Peralta's throwing pretty hard as well.
98 miles per hour. Peralta from San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican Republic. Used to be able to find a good shortstop down there.
Yeah, that's a baseball factor, isn't it?
Juan Samuel, Julio Franco, Alfredo Griffin, Manny Lee, Tony Fernandez. Peralta has been in the Reds organization his entire career. It's his 2nd season at the big league level. Pollock is tardy on 99 miles per hour. It's a lefty throwing 99. That used to be mind-blowing.
Yeah. Yeah, one and only lefties that used to do that. Used to pitch in this uniform for a long time for Arizona, and Randy Johnson.
I guess the Reds have had one, and Aroldis Chapman.
That's right. Roldy used to throw it up there a little bit.
Billy Wagner.
Oh, God, that brings back bad memories. I got a little ill just now. Got some Pepto. I don't feel good. Erica, you're perfectly trying to ruin my night. You know,
maybe some 4 hot dogs you've been eating.
I started off slowly, but now you're gonna read my mail in front of everybody now. Okay. I started off slowly. We built up. We got a good thing going this game. Now you're gonna bring up Billy Wagner.
Ball and 2 strikes to A.J. Pollock. High pop up. It should be playable. Foul territory. Votto. Signed, retired. Wandy Peralta comes out of the bullpen and saves the day for Luis Castillo and the Cincinnati Reds. To defend his title against rookie sensations Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger in a stacked field in the 2017 T-Mobile Home Run Derby. Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. You get a chance to see Giancarlo Stanton hit quite a bit down there in Miami. He can hit it as far as anyone. I guess you should say that until Aaron Judge rolled around.
Tell you what, it's going to be a lot of fun because when you have those two guys in one place, it looks like you took a video game and made a creative player and you just turned all the attributes up to 99 and just watch those two monsters just hack at it.
Adam Duvall batting here for the Reds in the 8th inning. He was in the home run derby a year ago. Made it to the semifinal round. New center fielder A.J. Pollock remains in the game. Batted for Fuentes. Popped out to first to end the 7th. Now he's in center. Duvall, Jeanette, Schebler. The bat against Randall Delgado. Bullpen for the Diamondbacks has done a good job retiring all 6 batters they've faced. Talking about Giancarlo Stanton. 4th highest career home run rate among right-handed hitting batters all time. Only Mark McGwire, Ralph Kiner, and the logo, Harmon Killebrew with more. A bullet down the left field line that doesn't stay fair.
Well, I think that's one thing that goes underrated about Giancarlo or really any other right-handed hitter. The number of right-handed pitchers in baseball far outweighs the number of left-handed pitchers. So you really have to be a good hitter to be a good right-handed hitter. You know, I think to me, I would say there's a good differentiation, probably about 20 to 30 points as far as the baseline of a batting average or you know, say a right-handed hitter. If he hits 250, he might be a decent right-handed hitter. You know, if you 250 and you left-handed hitter and with the number of left-handed pitchers, right-handed pitchers, you're pretty mediocre.
Right-handed hitting Duvall strikes out against the right-handed throwing Delgado. Here comes Scooter Jeanette. His Crypto Moment sponsored by Falcon Tires, the official tire of Major League Baseball.
That's that old school get on top and get through it right there.
Scooter Jeanette in limited time with 15 homers. Set a new career high and haven't even made it to the All-Star break yet. This is a guy who was out of a job. Anyone could have picked him up off the scrap heap coming out of spring training. And it's not just the homers. 15 homers is impressive, but batting all over the lineup, he's been driving in runs. At bat per RBI ratio, Scooter Jeanette is doing it better than anyone in the National League.
To me, this is more impressive than anything because runs win ball games. It's not hits don't win ball games. Home runs don't win ball games. Runs win ball games. So when you talk about a guy who's driving in runs at a clip better than anyone else, that's a productive player. That's a player that is really doing the most for his ball club.
Including the 2 at-bats tonight. That's now 204 at-bats, and he's driven in 47 runs. 204 at-bats, and he's got 15 homers. Little flare. Foul and untouchable. Jeanette from a high school in Sarasota, Florida. Was a promising prospect in the Milwaukee Brewers chain, made it to the big leagues, had a job share with Ricky Weeks and others. Did a pretty good job, but was not a world beater by any stretch of the imagination. And after being designated for assignment by the Brewers, picked up by the Reds, and just a career renaissance in the Queen City.
I know there was some flack about it, and I know Brandon Phillips said something about it, but to me, it is a little unusual to have a guy who spent as many years in an organization, all-star gold gloves like Brandon Phillips, and to give out his number the very next year. That's unusual. It really is. You don't usually see that happen for a few years down the road, and that's not a knock on Scooter Gennett.
Right.
It's just, you know, some organizations usually hold that number at least for a few years. They don't give it out right away. I thought that was a little bit different.
I think the story is Scooter said, "I'll give it back. I don't necessarily need it," but it was given to him.
Oh, and that's what I'm saying. It's not about him. Because, I mean, a player, if he wants, he's going to ask for it, but it's more about the organization. I think maybe that says more about something that the organization felt about Brandon Phillips. That, you know, I'm sure there's a deeper story there, but you don't usually see a guy who's an all-star Gold Glove, been there for what, 10, 12 years, however long Brandon Phillips was there in Cincinnati, to have his number given out the very next season. It almost borderline petty, to be honest with you.
I don't think that Johnny Cueto and Jay Bruce were quite the same level as Brandon Phillips, but their numbers have been given out as well in recent years.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's definitely not the same as far as the amount of time, the accolades that were won.
It was a love fest this afternoon. When we were getting ready for the game here at Chase Field, the Diamondbacks had an alumni game, and everyone came back, and it was all hugs and hosannas. We'll see if it'll be an alumni game, including Brandon Phillips in Cincinnati in years to come.
You know, we got to see O-Dog here. You got to see a whole bunch of
Rubio Durazo.
Louis Gonzalez.
3 hopper to Marte. 2 down. Let's head back to our studios in LA for a game break. Here's Kevin Burkhardt.
Right fielder, Scott Schebler.
Kevin, thank you so much. That is a free fall. What's going on there in Denver?
And they got to try to figure it out, though. They really had gotten good, strong work out of their bullpen. You know, Greg Holland had been great. Ottavino had been doing well, and then they had the series in L.A. where things just kind of fell off the rails for him. Ottavino had that inning where he just couldn't find the strike zone, and ever since then they've been struggling to try to get it going. You know, and I think maybe offensively they've been pressing, trying to make sure that they hold up their end, and it's just been a tough go for Colorado in this stretch leading into the All-Star break.
Rockies still the puncher's chance. 51-39, 12 games over. So not too many people shedding a tear for them. They have still had a rock-solid first half. Schebler, ball and 2 strikes. Proud Iowan from Cedar Rapids. Couple of strikeouts. Sandwiched around to bounce out to short. Nice couple of innings. Randall Delgado. He faces 6 Reds and retires them all. Shutout at home this year. They're looking at that right in the crosshairs right now. They only got 6 more outs to work with. They trail the Cincinnati Reds 5-0. Pitcher spot. And again, Diamondbacks go to their bench. Chris Iannetta will grab a bat. That's unusual these days for big league teams to carry 3 catchers. The Diamondbacks do it, and that's why you see Iannetta, one of the 3 catchers, pinch hitting. Generally, the thought process is you don't pinch hit with your backup catcher, because if you don't have a backup catcher, and for some unforeseen reason, if you need a catcher, sometimes the game is lost just because you don't have a position player who is capable of doing the work behind the dish.
Yeah, and let's be honest, not everybody's clamoring to put on those pads back there to get up behind that plate and catch, because it's not an easy job.
But Preston, you got drafted in 1992. Spent a whole bunch of time in the big leagues. You've been around the game for a long time. How many times in like the 10th or 11th inning have you seen the starting catcher get injured and have to leave the game, and that precious backup catcher jogs on into the game?
I can't say I've ever seen it. Yeah, it never happens. But at the same time, if it does happen and they try to call my name, you can't melt me and put me in catcher's gear, so I'm not going to be the one.
Peralta strikes out Iannetta, a 90-mile-an-hour heat. Out number 1.
Left fielder, Daniel Descalso.
I mean, this is just 98 cheese about belt high. When you sit down on the bench all game and you come in and you try to catch up to this, that's not an easy task.
Dirty Dan Descalso, his 4th at bat. First against someone other than Luis Castillo. Yeah, so Descalso was facing 98 and 99 from the right-handed throwing Castillo. Went 0 for 3, and now has to face 98-99 from the left-hand side from a fresh Peralta. Oh! Wandy Peralta! 2 down! Like a magician.
They're just flashing that leather out there like a cat. I mean, this is just good position that he's in to defend the play, reach out, makes a stab, grabs it, and then calmly, coolly issues it over to first base to Joey Votto to convert the out. Yeah, I got it.
2 outs in the 8th inning. Chris Herman. Didn't mean to. 0-2.
Yeah, these left-handed batters are got to be saying, you know what, there's got to be somebody right-handed around here somewhere we can get this at bat against this dude.
Wow. 3-pitch strikeout. Herman is retired. Wandy Peralta comes out of the pen, faces 4, and retires them all. Presented by Falcon Tires, the official tire of Major League Baseball. 5-0 lead for Cincinnati. We've reached the ninth. With Preston Wilson, I'm Eric Collins. These fans have the potential to have been watching about 7 hours of baseball. There was an alumni game here earlier this afternoon. Gates opened up at about 4 o'clock, I believe. And these fans, they've been here since 4 o'clock. They've full day at the ballpark.
I have to commend them because they came out to see Matt Williams and Luis Gonzalez, and there was some Steve Finley out there. There was
Robbie Hammock.
Robbie Hammock. There was a whole bunch of guys. Rubio Durazo, Andy Stankiewicz. There was a whole bunch of guys from the first year of this organization all the way through the World Series years to to the current players. And then they came out. There was at least 10 grand in this ballpark just sitting out watching, probably more than that, watching the old timers play. And it was a lot of fun. And the players had fun as well.
Not surprising that people here in Phoenix are celebrating retirees. Why not?
Well, I live in Miami, so it's kind of, yeah, I get it. I get it. You don't even say
they should try
anymore.
the alumni game down in Miami. It'd probably be a world beater.
Yeah, every game's an alumni game in Miami.
New pitcher coming on for Arizona. It's Jorge De La Rosa. Jose Peraza, fly ball into center field. A.J. Pollock covers a lot of ground, makes the play. Here's a good look at the veteran left-hander. De La Rosa is now 36 years of age. How about this? In the history of Major League Baseball, there are only 5 Mexican-born pitchers who have won 100 games. And Jorge De La Rosa is one of them.
Wow.
You got the great Fernando.
Yes.
Fernando Valenzuela, #1. Esteban Loaiza.
Okay.
Giovanni Gallardo, still going strong.
Okay.
And Ishmael Valdez, you probably hit against him.
Yeah.
Former Dodger. De La Rosa from Monterrey, Mexico. Tucker Barnhart hits it hard but foul. Barnhart, one of just 5 hits for Cincinnati. 4 of the 5 hits have been extra bases. Double by Barnhart, triple by Cozart, homers by Votto and Jeanette. Cincinnati Reds have 2 players from Brownsburg High School in suburban Indianapolis, Tucker Barnhart and Drew Story. Frequently, Barnhart catches Story. They played high school baseball together.
Wow. Now that's even more unusual than just having guys from the same high school, but they have guys who were there at the same time and actually were on the same. That's unusual. Yeah. Good
Considering
stuff.
there's only been 3 players that came out of your high school.
This has been the high school edition of FS1 right here. MLB on FS1, the high school edition. Yeah.
Saw Drew Story in there in the bullpen. Deep drive, left center field. Barnhart leaves the building. His 2nd extra base hit, the 3rd home run tonight for Cincinnati. It's a 6-0 lead. Late in the ball game, but he's not tuckered out. Still with energy to burn. The lead's a half dozen.
Just a great example of staying through the ball. Watch this swing. Just keeps the head down on it. Drives out. Watch the extension through the bats. Oh. And he knew it off the bat that ball was gone.
We were talking about the luxury of having a left-handed hitting catcher early in the game. How about the luxury of having a switch hitting catcher?
Yeah.
A home run from the right side after doubling from the left side earlier in the ball game.
Well done.
Patrick Kivlahan is the batter. Kivlahan from Seattle Mariners chain. Came out of nowhere. If you're not familiar with the story, this is a guy who played 4 years of Division I football for Greg Schiano and the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Finished his collegiate experience as a football player, but still was on campus at Rutgers. And asked to try out for the baseball team, really sight unseen. Had not played summer ball, had not interacted with the baseball team. Not only did he make the baseball team, he was named the Big East Player of the Year. This is a guy with no more football eligibility who didn't play baseball because he was afraid to ask the football coach, Greg Schiano, would you mind if I played baseball?
Well, that happens a whole lot more than you think it does. One of the reasons why Russell Wilson left North Carolina State, because they wouldn't let him play baseball anymore. So he went out to Wisconsin up there. So you have a lot of guys who play football in college that want to play baseball, but because the way football is now, coaches don't want them to do anything else.
Yeah, spring football is so important.
So they say.
Yeah, how'd you get away from the football people that going up in SEC country?
I just decided not to play anymore, and the high school coach hadn't talked to me since then.
Hard into center field. That'll be a base hit. Good night for Billy Hamilton. This is the 4th time that Hamilton has been aboard.
Yeah. When you just decide to not play anymore, it's like, you know, I feel like my future is either in baseball. I still played basketball a little bit longer, but yeah. There's repercussions. There's some angry stares, judgmental looks. I think I made the right call, though, Eric.
I think you did. All-star, won an RBI crown, won a World Series. Here's an all-star, Zach Cozart. RBI triple back in the 1st inning. As long as he doesn't hit into a double play, we will see Joey Votto bat again. Two and 0.
Well, Cincinnati needed this strong pitching performance they got from Castillo. Whoa. See, I'm sorry, I'll say it again. This is why you need electronic strike zones. This can't happen. We saw a pitch early in the game that was well within the strike zone that didn't get called. May have changed Taijuan Walker's whole outing. And then you get a 2-0 pitch, and this guy calls this pitch a strike. Come on, man.
Well, it's a 6-0 game in the 9th.
It doesn't matter what the score is.
Can you widen the strike zone a bit?
No, you can't. You shouldn't. Because when you play basketball, the hoop doesn't get small just because it's a blowout of a game. So no, everything that's the same should stay the same. The strike zone dictates your success or failure as a baseball player. So therefore, the situation should not matter how it's shaped.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Cozart. De La Rosa's pitch. And we'll go full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Joey Votto. Already a home run tonight. Lying in wait. And the second walk of the inning allowed by De La Rosa. The bases are full for Votto.
First baseman.
See, I'm glad Zach Cozart worked that walk, you know, because that would have been quite a burden on him to be able to have that at bat, get away from him because of a call like that.
Well, now we get a chance to see Joey Votto bat with the bases loaded. And we'll have a meeting on the mound. This will not be a pitching change. It'll just be a confab. Gives us a chance to tell a good donkey story, I guess.
Well, you know.
Last year, as the story went, if Zach Cozart made the All-Star games 2016, Joey Votto promised him a donkey.
Okay.
I guess Zach Cozart likes donkeys. Okay, and so that was common knowledge. And Joey Votto said, you know what, you're my teammate. I'm one of the leaders on this year's team. If you make the All-Star team, I'll buy you a donkey. Well, that wasn't promised this year. Kind of just slipped under the radar. But Cozart makes the All-Star team. And Joey Votto, being just a good guy, is going to give him a donkey. And this is this is a MLB Network interview. That's Joey Votto, who came out in the donkey suit. Is that awesome or what?
That's supporting your teammate right there. That is. That's supporting your teammate to the nth degree. Seriously. Because it's summer and you put on a donkey costume. That's going for your teammate right there.
Joey Votto, it comes across as maybe the most serious guy in the history of the world. But when Joey Votto is wearing a donkey suit,
yeah,
that speaks volumes for the type of guy he is.
I mean, to be honest, it still looked like a serious donkey, but at least he's in a donkey suit.
All right, Preston, just curious. 6-0 game. You're Joey Votto. You're at the height of your powers.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the same at bat that he would have in the first inning, or do you think differently here in this situation?
No, Joey Votto is trying to get a pitch to hit a sac fly right here. He's got a 2-0 count. He's trying to get a fastball away to hit in the air. I guarantee you.
He's not thinking about jumping the yard.
No.
Taking the biggest swing of the season.
No, he's that stubborn and that consistent. He wants to make sure every at bat he approaches it with the right mindset. If he was looking for the jump right there, he might swing at that fastball in. But he knows in order to get the sac fly, he needs a fastball away or a breaking ball. That's why he hit the home run opposite field in the first at bat when he hit the home run.
You trying to tell me he's as stubborn as a donkey?
I'm trying to tell you, yes. When he's got a bat in his hand, yes, he is. He is downright mulish.
3-1.
I'd be very surprised to see him swing at a sinker in or anything in right here hard.
Off the thumbs, little flare to center. And Pollock makes the catch, coming in from third and scoring is Kiblahan. It's a sacrifice fly, just what Joey Votto wanted.
But that's the mindset. That's what he's looking for, and he's that stubborn where he's going to try to stay there. And no, he didn't hit it perfectly, but that is so much better than that one hop smash to the first baseman where you say you hit it hard, but oh well, it doesn't matter because that's not the pitch you need to get your job done. He understands get something soft or get a fastball away. Those pitches are easy to hit in the air. That's how you get your job done consistently. And Joey Votto is that guy who's so stubborn. The score is not going to change that for him.
RBI number 66 for Votto. There were some people that were wondering after Votto got that huge contract a handful of years ago. Is that a great idea? Aging first baseman, maybe on a team that should reload or regroup or rebuild. He is making sure the Reds get their money's worth. He is such a professional, quality, productive hitter.
Well, and the type of game that he plays really lends itself to longevity because he plays first base and he doesn't have to do, he's not really playing like a center field or an outfield position where he's exerting all this energy. He's not really a base stealer, even though he's a good base runner. So he's not spending a lot of energy. He's not like a really high output player other than at the plate. So it's going to lend itself to longevity. The players that get those long contracts that I feel run into trouble are the guys who play outfield, the guys who play like a shortstop, a very physically demanding position. Those are a lot tougher.
De La Rosa strikes out Duvall. Side is retired, but the Reds pad their lead. They're now up by 7. South Beach when baseball's biggest stars take the field for the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. It's coming up in just a couple of days' time. Tuesday, 7:30 Eastern, only on Fox. We've reached the bottom of the ninth inning. Reds need 3 more outs to get this one in the victory column. And they will enlist Ariel Hernandez to finish off the job. Paul Goldschmidt takes inside for ball 1.
Ho hum, just another guy coming in throwing 99. That's all. That's all. Just another guy throwing 99. That's all we've seen from Cincinnati tonight.
The Chamber of Commerce down there in the Dominican Republic, they're beaming tonight here with what the Reds are doing. You had Luis Castillo from Bonnie in the DR, then you had Wandy Peralta from San Pedro de Macorís, and now you got Ariel Hernandez, who's from Santo Domingo. It's not just shortstops anymore coming out of the DR.
No, there's some big time arms right here.
Hernandez originally property of the San Francisco Giants. This year spending time in Double-A with those Pensacola Blue Wahoos. 99 miles per hour, 3-1 to Goldschmidt. Five-pitch walk. And you got a 7-0 lead in the bottom of the ninth inning. Really, the only thing you're commissioned not to do is give up free passes.
Yeah, you definitely want strike throws to come into this situation. Keep that thing moving. Don't allow this team a chance to string base runners together, string at bats together.
Yeah, we're at this point in the game where a walk is almost the same thing as a home run, in the sense that you don't even give your team an opportunity to make a play. And with indifference on the infield, Goldschmidt takes an extra base.
Right.
No stolen base for Goldschmidt. Defensive indifference. No reason not to throw if you can. Unlimited strikes. Jake Lamb chased the pitch, 1-1. The last time an opponent shut out the Diamondbacks here in Phoenix, believe it or not, it was the Reds. August 27th of last season. Anthony DeSclafani, a 4-hit shutout. That pitch surrounds the strike zone, 2-1.
Did you just say they're sad?
She did. Yeah. I guess we got microphones everywhere.
Sad lambs.
First out of the bottom of the ninth.
It was so heartfelt too. Oh, they're sad.
Yeah, a lot of excitement here in Phoenix, large part because of that guy, Torey Lovullo. First year here in Arizona. Been an East Coast guy for a long time. With the Indians, was with the Blue Jays, Boston, but coming out here west again, which is where he's from. He's an LA guy, played at UCLA. He's been a perfect fit here in this organization. Everyone's been raving about the type of leader he has been.
Yeah, I think he's really been a guy who changed the culture here. And there's an excitement about the Arizona Diamondbacks, and partly that's due to Torey Lovullo.
We had a chance to talk to him today in his office. He's a UCLA guy, played for the Bruins back in the mid-'80s. He has got basically a shrine to John Wooden.
Oh, yeah.
Great basketball coach at UCLA. He said he had a chance to meet him when he was growing up. His father was a big fan. Used to take him to Bruins games back in the 70s. He got a chance to meet John Wooden. And John Wooden just was as gracious as a human being could be. John Wooden's pyramid of success is framed on his wall. Really cool. One of the great coaches in any sport was John Wooden. Legendary basketball coach at UCLA.
Well, he definitely knows a thing or two about winning. When you go to UCLA and you see all those banners in that building, you know that John Wooden he's a winner through and through. So if you can emulate anybody, why not John Wooden?
Final hope for the Diamondbacks. Brandon Drury trying to keep the game alive. Arizona has not been shut out here in this ballpark this season. It was 6 2/3, a brilliant baseball spun by Luis Castillo. And then an inning and a third from Wandy Peralta. And now Ariel Hernandez. 101 miles per hour.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no shortage of velocity coming out of that pitching staff right now in Cincinnati. I think Castillo topped out at 100, Peralta 99, and now 101 from Hernandez.
Doesn't do you much good if you don't hit the strike zone consistently. 2 walks with a 7-0 lead for Hernandez. And with 2 outs in a 7-0 game, we will have a meeting on the mound. Is this ever about mechanics? Is it ever like, hey, I noticed your elbow's dropping, or you're not pronating enough, or your stride's not long enough?
It all depends on the guys. Sometimes you go out there and there's some guys that you have to talk mechanics, and that's, you know, that's kind of like a little tap on the back. Then some guys you got to kind of give a little nudge, a little kick in the butt. Where, hey, look, we're up 7-0 right now. Throw strikes. And it's the, you know, everybody responds differently, and it's the pitching coach's job to be that psychiatrist, that psychologist, to understand which buttons to push with which guy.
Ketel Marte. Came up in the Seattle Mariners chain, and I guess there's a possibility they dealt him away because he looks a little bit too much like Robinson Cano. Don't they look a lot alike?
They do look a lot alike.
It was too confusing in the clubhouse.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, if I can have 2 Robinson Canos, I'd take 2 Robinson Canos.
Will it be playable? Scooter Gennett makes the play, and the game is over. A 3-headed shutout for the Cincinnati Reds, powered by a couple of home runs. Scooter Gennett, Joey Votto, and Tucker Barnhart. Really an all-around quality win for the Cincinnati Reds, who desperately needed it. A team that is limping right now, heading to the All-Star break.
Just a great night. Billy Hamilton with 3 bags. You saw the All-Stars on display tonight. Great win for the Reds. Beat a tough team in Arizona.
So the Arizona Diamondbacks have now lost 4 of their last 5. They'll have another game to get ready for the All-Star break tomorrow. Sure hope you enjoyed it. For Preston Wilson, I'm Eric Collins. Coming up right now, it's the UFC 2013 post-fight show.
No runs, 3 hits, no errors. Winning pitcher for Cincinnati.